Hello, and welcome to the NWS Podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Bryce.
And I'm Seth.
And today we're going to talk a little bit more about Godzilla. Woo!
As we mentioned Monday, we had the chance to watch the movie and gave our opinions on it, gave you guys some spoilers, and
Spoiler alert, we loved it.
ruined the movie for you guys. No, it's
Basically.
it's really good. Regardless, you'll still watch it.
Yeah, and we warned you, so you can't hold us accountable. Anyways, so we're going to talk more about Godzilla today, but not this Godzilla.
We're gonna talk about Godzilla.
Yes, well,
kinda.
kinda, and some of the later incarnations of Godzilla, because he's been around for 60 years now, so there's a lot to talk about.
Basically, some fun facts.
Yeah. So start us off, Bryce.
Well, first of all, you heard me mention him as Gojira. That is the original name of him.
Yes.
Original Godzilla name.
The original masterpiece.
And that is actually derived from the words Gorilla. I think I'm saying that right.
Gorilla.
All their R's in Japanese sound like L's.
Yeah.
So it kind of sounds like gorilla anyways. And Kujira, which means whale. So he was called Gorilla Whale.
The gorilla whale.
The gorilla whale. And in the beginning, he did kind of look like a gorilla with a whale. Mixed with a whale.
Okay, well, at least it combined, it sounded like a cool name.
It does.
Though by just calling him Gorilla Whale, I think that sounds kind of silly.
It sounds like insult to him.
Yeah, almost.
Think about it.
Um,
What else, Kyle?
One thing I thought was funny, I've heard this one before, is that in the original Gojira movie, Godzilla is rampaging through Tokyo, and he destroys the Toho Theater. And it's just a little throwback or a nod to the company that is producing it, Toho.
It was also a real theater too.
Yeah.
Because
And that's where it's funny, is that the people in the theater who were watching it kind of freaked out a little bit.
some of them even went outside.
To make sure there wasn't a giant monster rampaging through the city.
Which means they must have had a really good sound system.
You would think.
Yeah.
They obviously tricked these people into thinking that it was a live newscast and not a studio movie.
That's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
Instead of telling people you're coming in to see a movie, you're seeing it live.
It kind of
urgent broadcast.
It kind of reminds me back when War of the Worlds first broadcast on radio. It kind of had the similar effect because you hadn't really done that before, and now they're broadcasting news clips about an alien invasion, and but it's kind of cool. I think it would be fun to go back in time to where a movie like Gojira, with its cheesy special effects and giant rubber suit, could scare people into thinking that there was actually a monster attacking the city, show them this movie.
That would be pretty cool.
They would flip out.
I know. But even more than that, with the rubber suit, it was 200 pounds in the beginning. It was so heavy that it was hard for the performer inside to do anything. They had to drain cups of his sweat during the sequences.
Because it's hot in Japan and rubber does not breathe. So
I feel really bad for the person. But then again, he got to be Godzilla.
Actually, I read another article that mentioned that it wasn't uncommon for them to have to take the actor to the hospital during production because he would have fainting spells from the heat inside the suit.
But he got to be Godzilla.
I know, that would be an honor. I'd be Godzilla.
That's a sacrifice you have to make to play as the King of Monsters.
Yeah, you have to be the king of actors.
King of Actors.
Yeah. Or at least as tough.
As tough as the King of Actors, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, he's gone through a lot of transformations also, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's changed in size, in how mean he looks. Even his personality has changed a lot through the years.
Even what type of animal he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
In the beginning, the special effects director wanted him to be a giant octopus.
Somehow this doesn't sound as cool.
It doesn't sound as cool. It's basically a ripoff of the Kraken.
Right.
Yeah. Not that. No.
No.
No, just one
I'm
of
glad Godzilla's what he is.
Now, the lizard monster was actually inspired. Well, lizard dinosaur monster was actually inspired by the Beast from 2000 Fathoms.
Oh, okay.
A movie in the 1950s.
Yeah, classic.
Classic movie. The producer watched that and he's like, you know what? Godzilla. I didn't even snap right. I can't snap.
I'm sure that's what he did though. Was like
he's like, that's gonna
that's
be
what I'm
Godzilla.
gonna do. And everyone else in the theater was like, shh.
Not only that, but his head was supposed to look like a mushroom at first.
Yeah.
To kind of represent the image of mushroom clouds, because you know, mushroom clouds are usually seen after an atomic bomb lands or some sort of nuclear disaster.
There's so many references to nuclear accidents or anything that has to do with atomic power in Godzilla movies.
Well, if you think about it, it's a realistic situation. Though nuclear disasters, not
Godzilla's
not
the world?
giant
Yeah,
monsters
it's very
living
realistic.
underwater and eating radiation from the Earth's core.
Sure, whatever.
But in Japan, they have a lot of trouble with nuclear
It's true.
fallouts. It's happened before,
Yeah.
so it's a very,
It's what happens when your country runs on nuclear power.
very true.
So,
Very true.
in the original Gojira movie, the opening scene was inspired by an incident during the testing of the nuclear bombs.
Yes, there was a Japanese fishing boat,
Called the Lucky Dragon.
number
which is
5.
A very Japanese name. Yes, the Lucky Dragon number 5. Obviously, the other 4 Lucky Dragons were not so lucky.
But it ended up stumbling into where there was a nuclear testing site and
Became contaminated.
it got contaminated.
Yeah, and so this is in the opening scene. I haven't seen Gojira in a long time, but I know that they have the boat, supposedly the Lucky Dragon number 5, that is nearby when the bomb that goes off that creates Godzilla.
And as we mentioned in the new movie, they have a reference to that.
Right.
One of the life preservers on one of the boats has a number 5 in really bold things. So
Little nod to the original movie. Let's see. The original name of Godzilla was not Godzilla. It was actually going to be Anguirus.
Yep.
Which wasn't abandoned completely, even though Godzilla became the official name, or Gojira, Anguirus still appeared.
Yeah, as an enemy.
Yes.
Godzilla, in the second film, I do so believe.
Yep.
He fought Anguirus.
Godzilla Raids Again was the 1955 movie, and he fights a monster called Anguirus, which is personally one of my favorite monsters. Not because he's cool, because I think he's kind of lame, but because all these monsters are people in suits.
Yeah.
So this guy, they couldn't make the legs. He couldn't walk around on all fours like a monster actually, or like a creature who walks on all fours actually would.
So
So
what
the
did
monster
they do?
actually walks on its hands and knees because he couldn't contort himself appropriately to keep his feet on the ground. So in some scenes, he's actually resting on his knees.
That's
And-
interesting. I never noticed that. Then again, I never watched too many of the movies because...
You hypocritical fan, you.
Well, as I mentioned Monday...
Yes, I know. The fear of Godzilla.
I was scared of Godzilla. He's scary to a 4 or 5-year-old.
I understand that. Did we talk about the head
There's
yet?
the sketch about the head being like
Yes.
a mushroom cloud. We might show that. But
Yeah,
like the
I'll
back
put
of
that
his head looks like a big giant mushroom cloud.
Ooh. Yeah. So, it's quite ugly. I don't like that one. I'm glad they went with dinosaur.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, you can go if you had something.
I didn't have
actually trying to
something.
make my.
I didn't have something.
I
mean, I do, but I have to find it.
This movie is very timely. In fact, 10 years ago, Godzilla Final Wars was released, which was a 2004 film, and it was celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Godzilla franchise.
Okay.
So Godzilla fought almost every monster from the 50 years that he had been around in this one movie, plus a couple new ones.
Sounds like a lot of action packed in one movie.
It was. It was quite
I bet.
enjoyable. Except for the human part, which was more like Power Rangers meets Godzilla, which was really weird to me.
Okay.
But the monster fights were good.
Okay. Now, also in 2004, to commemorate his 50th anniversary, he got a spot on Hollywood's Walk of Fame.
Yeah, he has a star.
Which normally is only given to celebrities that exist.
And yeah, real people.
Real people.
Living, breathing things. But Godzilla has one, so he's even the king of...
Then again, we don't know. The government covers up so much stuff. He could exist.
Maybe he's not a man in a suit. He's actually a monster.
Then
But he's only like this tall. Now, in 2004, also the director of or the writers in charge of the Godzilla franchise, Toho Studios also, announced that there would be no more Godzilla movies for the next 10 years. Which was true. We haven't seen a Godzilla movie since 2004.
So it has been 10 years.
And then we get this, which I think makes it worth the wait.
It was worth the wait.
That was pretty...
It was really good.
Yeah, I'm quite happy, and I hope the following Godzilla movies are like this. As much as I love the man in a suit, I don't care if he ever returns.
Now, I guess you can call this a spoiler, but it's really not. There was some interviews with the writer of the newest Godzilla film, and he said that he might put Mothra in the next movie.
That would be cool.
Might put Mothra, and he wants to portray him a lot like the 1960s Joker. So basically, he's going to cause a lot of damage, but not really do much fighting.
I can see that. Because that's how Mothra kind of operated in the old movies anyway. Because they never really because what's a moth going to do to Godzilla?
Fly around him, bug the snot out of him.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That's basically what it does, is annoy Godzilla and make Godzilla do a lot of damage. And there was a couple little battle sequences that were kind of interesting. But I'm interested, if they do Mothra, see how they do it.
Now, another thing that I found interesting, and yes, I know I'm cutting you off, Kyle.
No, go ahead.
But another thing I found interesting is this was also one of the first Japanese movies to make it to Korea. Because, as you know, they still have rivalries to this day.
That's true. So, yeah, that was pretty cool that, it was that first movie to kind of cross those borders. And it really was a masterpiece for its time.
It was.
Yeah. You know what wouldn't have been a masterpiece for its time is one of the possible enemies that Godzilla could have gotten in the 60s. Yeah, in the 60s. Which is Batman.
There was almost a Godzilla versus Batman.
There was going to be a Godzilla versus Batman.
That almost sounds... I don't know if I think that sounds cool or not.
And, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I found it on the internet, so you know how trustworthy the internet is.
Very, very trustworthy.
So there's a whole wiki site to it, so I'm going to guess that it's probably legit.
Wikipedia is so reliable.
So supposedly it was completely written, it just never got greenlit to start producing. It was supposed to be Godzilla versus Batman, Batman being played by Adam West, which is the classic Batman from the 60s. And so that would have been...
either a disaster or a really cool movie. Probably a disaster, though.
Probably a disaster.
Anytime Godzilla is faced up against human-sized opponents, it's
never great.
Never turns out well.
And plus, you have 60s Godzilla, which was kind of campy in itself, In these Godzillas, he was dancing and doing wrestler moves on his enemies. And then you have 60s Batman, which was also incredibly campy, with its bottles of shark repellent and painted basketball bombs.
Well, that's all Batman's ever been. He's been just a normal rich guy with gadgets.
Yeah.
Sometimes really crappy gadgets too.
The
Well, at least back then.
Adam West one was the crappiest though. Not saying anything bad about the actor or that series. It was funny and it was great. It just wasn't as serious as people expect Batman to be now. So it was different. But that almost happened.
Alright. Now, I am going to say one thing about the games. First of all, there was a ton of Godzilla games.
There was.
One of my favorite names out of all the games, though, is the Movie Monster game.
That's not generic.
I know, not generic at all. But it was a Godzilla movie game. But it was a video game.
On the Apple II and Commodore 64.
Yeah, so
that's
way
an
back
old game.
In the 80s. That's not that old.
Well,
30.
in video game years.
In video game years,
that's
yes.
like an ancient. That's horribly old.
Now, the thing that actually got me into Godzilla was a video game itself. It was
my video games.
It was one of your video games. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee for the GameCube.
Yes.
That was awesome. You got to play as all the monsters. You got to have multiplayer battles. It was
good memories of that game.
It was great.
I
remember me, you, Seth, and a couple
Justin,
of other friends. Yeah. We had some fun.
Those matches got quite intense.
Now, is there anything else that you've looked up
on
Godzilla?
Yeah. Well, not on
Godzilla. Okay.
I just wanted to mention the games. There hasn't really been a recent game, which I'm hoping this movie kind of sparks an interest in the Godzilla gaming world. I'd like to get another Melee style game.
It would be awesome.
The last one was Godzilla Unleashed, which was for Wii and PS2 in 2007.
Oh wow, that's been a while.
Been a while back.
If you don't count the gorilla Godzilla, well, he's a gorilla whale, so Godzilla Smash 3 for mobile devices.
Yeah, so an iOS game. So I don't count that.
I don't know if you count that as a real game.
This name of a game too, if we're going by generic names, is Godzilla Monster of Monsters.
Well, he was Monster of Monsters if you think about it.
He's the king of monsters, but saying the Monster of Monsters is just like, that's redundant.
That's true.
It's like, this monster's definitely a monster. He is like a monster of monsters. But anyway, that's as much as I can think Godzilla.
Okay, we're done talking about Godzilla now. But we have still some more.
I have just a couple
news.
quick things to mention before we disappear off air. So, real quick, this is just in kind of nerdy news. I wanted to mention that Sword Art Online 2 anime premieres have been announced.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know about this prior to that. But that sounds awesome. I loved Sword Art Online. I mean, I did not care too much for the filler episodes in between with Asuna and Kirito's romance. But,
yeah.
But you know, you kind of needed it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it contributed, it made you feel bad about the characters when stuff happens.
So let me see here. Let me find it again. I don't know.
He's losing his articles.
I'm losing everything.
He can't find it.
Talk for a minute.
What am I supposed to talk about? Oh yeah, the Sword Art Online 2 premieres. Oh, we'll probably edit that out.
Anyways, I'll post a blurb at the bottom with the premiere dates, because I can't find it in the stupid article, even though that's the name of the article, because I just found this right before we started recording. So, anyways, it's premiering soon, this year actually.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
If what I saw on this article is to be trusted, in July, which is really fast.
That means we're getting Sword Art Online 2, we're getting Attack on Titan.
Not announced yet.
No, it hasn't been announced yet?
No.
We were supposed to get it.
We're supposed everything's saying we're getting it.
I'm genuinely upset about that.
We have to wait for the manga to catch up. I mean, to get far enough so that the anime won't get
I
ahead of
was
it.
disappointed where they left off on
I
the
know.
first season.
It's right at the good part. If you've been keeping up with the manga, it's good, isn't it?
I have.
Okay, also, I hate this browser. Okay, if any of you follow the Persona 4 series, or the Persona series, Persona 4 Arena is getting an update called Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. And so it now has been priced and is up for pre-order at your local game shop. Which the original Persona 4 Arena was designed by the same people who did Blaze Blue and that other one that's designed by them, and was really good. So if you like the Persona series and like Street Fighter and stuff, give it a go. As I said, these are just quick blurbs. There's a free-to-play Pokemon game that I don't know much about. It's a free 3DS game heading to the Japanese market, possibly American market later on,
Hopefully.
as a tie-in to the upcoming Pokemon movie, Pokemon the Movie, Diancie and the Cocoon of Destruction. And then the game is going to be called The Thieves and the 1000 Pokemon. Is there 1,000 Pokemon now?
Is there? I remember back when there was like 100 something.
Yeah, 100 and something. Good grief. Yes. So it's going to be free to play, and I'm guessing by free to play they mean that it's going to be massive multiplayer.
That's interesting concept.
So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, we'll see.
But those are just a few little things that I wanted to mention before we ended the episode. Just some
Before we-
interesting things in the world of gaming.
Wrap up this NWS.
Yeah. You have anything else?
I have nothing else.
I don't have anything this time either. Seth, you got anything?
No.
You're just over there eating dry pasta.
Leave me alone.
He literally picked up a box of dry pasta and started eating it. Because we told him he couldn't be eating
I swear all you people are high.
other stuff. So, I'm Bryce.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Seth.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You can contact us at our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook,
Which are in the description
which are in
and the credits.
the description and the credits, like you just said.
Thank you for clarifying.
And you can also contact us at NWSpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.